Hey, what's up, Pokemon fans? I've got a question for you. What if there's a Pokemon move that starts with 1 base damage, but the damage doubles every time you use Tail Whip? How much damage will it deal after 10 Tail Whips? Doubles every Tail Whip, huh? Well, 30 damage? 40 damage? 50 damage? Much bigger than you think. Time to do some math. But before that, I want to show you this triangle. We've got 2, 3, and 8. This is called the triangle of power. And the idea goes like this. 2 raised to 3 is equal to 8. 2 is equal to the third root or the cube root of 8. And log base 2 of 8 is equal to 3. If you don't know what those symbols mean, let me show you in the form of boxes in 3D. In 3D, we've got the X, the Y, and the Z axis. But in 1D, we've only got the X axis. A length of 5 in just one axis is just 5 boxes side by side. In 2D, we've got X and Y. A length of 5 in 2 axes is a total of 25 boxes. That's 5 by 5. 5 rows and 5 columns stacked up. Finally, in 3D, we've got X, Y, and Z axis. A length of 5 in 3 axes is a total of 5 times 5 times 5 is equal to 125. 5 rows, 5 columns, and 5 depth. In the triangle of power, if we cover 125, it looks like 5 raised to 3. That is, the number 1 multiplied to the number 5 3 times equals 125. Google, what's 5 raised to 3?
125.
If we cover 5, it looks like the cube root or the third root of 125. That is, the number 125 will be divided by some number 3 times until it becomes 1 or less. That number is 5. Now Google, what's the cube root of 125?
Go do it yourself.
And if we cover 3, it kind of looks like the logarithm with base 5 of 125. Google, what's log base 5 of 125? Sure enough, it's 3. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. What if there's a Pokemon move that starts with 1 base damage, but the damage doubles every time you use Tail Whip? How much damage will it deal after 10 Tail Whips? In order to answer this, we need to go back to doing 2 raised to 3. As I've previously said, this number 3 here represents how many dimensions there are. But in this case, it can also represent how many Tail Whips a Pokemon has done. And this 8 here can represent how much damage your move will deal in total. Instead of raising it to 3, we will need to bump it up to 10 because 1 base damage gets doubled 10 times. We can try doubling the number 10 times manually, or we can ask Google, what's 2 raised to 10?
According to Byju's, the value of 2 power 10 is 1024.
There we go. The total damage is 1024 damage. That means if you Tail Whip 10 times, you will be dealing damage with this move enough to kill any Pokemon in one hit. And why stop there? How many Tail Whips do you need to deal 1,000,000 damage? 1,000,000, huh? Well, let's think about this for a sec. That's 1,000 times more than 1,000. So if it takes 10 Tail Whips to go from 1 to 1,000, then it should take another 10 Tail Whips to go from 1,000 to 1,000,000, right? That's actually correct. In order to do this, we would need to go back to doing the logarithm with base 2 of 8. But instead of getting the logarithm of 8, we'll need to replace it with 1,000,000. Because 1,000,000 will be split in half some number of times until we get 1 or less. We can try having the number manually, or we can plug it into a calculator. Log base 2 of 1,000,000 is 20. That means we need 20 Tail Whips to deal 1,000,000 damage.
Bruh.
Doing 10 Tail Whips will deal 1,000 damage, but 20 Tail Whips will deal 1,000,000 damage. Sign me up! Here's a bonus question for you. But don't forget to hit that, whip that, smash that like and subscribe button if you want this move to become a thing! So here's the bonus question. What if after 5 Tail Whips, the total damage is already at 1,024? How much does the 1 base damage multiply into after every Tail Whip? In order to answer this, we need to go back to doing the third root of 8. But instead of getting the cube root of 8, we'll need to replace cube root with the fifth root and 8 with 1,024 because 1,024 will be divided by some number 5 times. Google, what's the fifth root of 1024?
Fifth root of 1024 is 4.
There we go. With this new move, your attack gets quadrupled every Tail Whip. Tail Whip is so OP, and that, my friends, is how you become the very best that no one ever.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my